Welcome to the USA East Coast Center for the World Transformation Movement. I'm absolutely thrilled the opportunity to open up this center to share this amazing information that I've discovered that has changed my life and I am convinced is the holy grail for the transformation of the human race on this planet. To win, finally, the race between our self-destruction and self-understanding. My name is Gerry St Onge, and I live here in the Delaware River Valley, which is in the eastern part of the United States. It's a beautiful rural river community on the Delaware River, which borders Hunterdon County, New Jersey, and the river community of Bucks County, Pennsylvania. My personal journey has been one after a career in corporate America and raising two children. They're now a daughter and a son, 19 and 18. I found myself increasingly aware and concerned about what was happening in the world. That we seem to be careening out of control. The crises seem to be getting worse and worse. Something is terribly wrong, and deep down inside I have this knowing that this is not a reflection of who we really are as human beings. So I launched on a self-directed exploration into the question of what's going on, who am I, and what can we do, what can I do, how can I find the handle such that I can make the most massive contribution to us turning this thing around as possible, as much as I can muster. And on that journey, I sought out individuals and groups of individuals, past and present, who had answered these questions, who are dedicated their lives to examining and investigating these questions, and had come up with some answers. And in those answers, I found some amazing pockets of wisdom. But no one was able to put the whole thing together until I discovered the work of Australian biologist Jeremy Griffith and his notion of the human condition. And really, it wasn't the first time this notion had been surfaced. The great philosopher Plato, hundreds of years before Christ, had come up with this notion, articulated beautifully in his allegory of the cave, which is very much worth looking at because it does really describe exactly what we're going through as human beings today. But Jeremy, 40 years ago, uncovered this idea of the human condition and brought a biological, scientific explanation to why we are creating this crazy, what I call a crazy, stupid, upside down, bizarro world. And basically, he has identified that some 2 million years ago, when we had our first conscious thought as human beings, evolving from a pure instinctual, genetic-based physiological thinking mechanism, and had our first conscious thought, which is a nervous system-based physiology, thinking, on maybe the nervous system-based mind versus the genetic system-based mind, that when we had that first conscious thought, since it was focused on understanding, conscious thinking is understanding and looking at cause and effect and so forth, which was in contrast to instinctual thinking, which is very rudimentary. We do it the way we've always done it, cross generations, very little adjustment generationally. That first conscious thought was so different that there was an inherent conflict with our instinctual thinking. And the conscious mind, which the nature of the conscious mind is to try to understand things, couldn't make any sense out of this conflict of the instinctual, initiative and pull to this conscious idea of wonder and wanting to explore. And I invite you on the website and in this incredible book, Freedom, The End of the Human Condition, Jeremy describes a story called Adam Stork. I invite you to go look at that, and he'll explain the whole thing. But for me, the understanding that from this moment of our first conscious thought, we've had this conflict that we've never resolved. it's created this upset because the conscious mind couldn't understand why they was getting this flack from our instinct, our instinctual self. And not being able to reconcile it in our psyche, we repressed and denied deep, deep, deep down into our psyche the very question about a conflict. And because of that inner conflict, we then created these personas, these masks, and these behaviors to defend ourselves from the instinctual criticism. And in that is some anger. We felt alienation. And we created this very egocentric behavior. And all of that, coming from that core inner conflict, all that behavior, this dysfunctional behavior coming out of a species-wide psychosis, basically projects into the behaviors that create this crazy, stupid, upside-down, bizarre world, as I call it. Now, I'm not sure if I did justice to that explanation, but I guarantee you, on the website, www.humancondition.com, and in this book, Freedom, that Jeremy has written, which is the most complete, thorough examination of human nature, human behavior, and a full explanation of why we created this crazy world based on this very simple idea. It's a radical, simple idea. And in it, there's nothing really to fix. There's nothing to oppose. If you're concerned about all the craziness in the world, it's not about opposing anything out there. It is very simply, radically simple to understand the human condition in our own psyche, each one of us individually. That is our primary responsibility. And if you read this book and then examine the information on the website, but I can tell you that if you get through this book, you know, it's not thin. If you can get through this book, and I devoured it, and I carry it with me, and I've marked it up, and every time I look at it, I find something new. Jeremy takes us through this process of examining and understanding the human condition, and it is a liberating process. Fundamental concept here that Jeremy provides the biological scientific explanation of is what is our true nature, right? So our whole society and our whole culture is based on this idea around social Darwinism, right? This idea that we operate as animalistic, competitive beings. It's about survival of the fittest. It's a dog-eat-dog world. And that is our nature. Our nature is competitive. And what Jeremy uncovers and provides the proofs biologically, physiologically, psychologically, is that that is not true. Our true nature is loving, nurturing, collaborative, cooperative, contributive, and compassionate. So it's the opposite of what basic science and current normal thought assumes is our nature. So when that understanding takes root in each one of us individually, everything changes. So that's how beautifully simple, radical simple this understanding of the human condition is. And it is that can you feel the transformative leverage in that understanding? There's so much more. I won't be able to go through it all, and I don't need to, because no one does it better than Jeremy. So I invite you to dive into this website. There are plenty of videos, there are essays, there are testimonials, and inhale this book. The book is available free online on the website. You can buy it on Amazon. It's not expensive. This isn't a profiteering initiative. It's a nonprofit enterprise with the focused, the primary, dedicated, focused objective to share this information with the world, to change the world, to transform human beings on this planet and create a new world that is reflective of our true essence. So, welcome to the World Transformation Movement. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions. There's plenty of information on the website, as I said. The book is there. There are other books as well, but Freedom is a great place to dive into. And I guarantee you, if you get through that book, it will change your life. And welcome to this community of people who are standing on very solid ground, dedicated to transform the human race on this planet. And again, it's not a complicated thing. Although I can tell you that when you go on this journey, it will rock your inner world, because that's where the work is done. Once we resolve this inner conflict, finally, and I'm in the process of doing this, has changed my life. I'm experiencing more calm and more peace and more clarity than I ever have. And while I've lived a life of, learning how to master setting goals and building strategies and tactical plans and then executing them, I've realized now that linear is a very fear-based approach. That all I have to do and all I am doing is understanding this information. And in that, I stand up now on solid ground in this really amazing, solid community of members of this movement around the world. And now there's plenty to do, but it comes out of love and inspiration. And we can do it with ease, grace, joy, and a whole lot of fun. So welcome to this movement, and welcome to the new world.